ladies, it's Donna from Donna's Sewing Circle. Welcome. Come on in. We've always got room for one more in our circle. Today is day 4 of our Pinwheel Quilt. It is a beginner quilt, and I'm teaching you how to make it one step at a time. I am an instructor. I teach sewing, quilting, and upcycling locally, and my classmates, my students, they said I should really start a YouTube channel, and I really fought it for 6 months because there's so many other people out there on the internet. But I finally relented and started my own channel, and I'm really glad I did. I'm really getting some positive feedback. I appreciate it. If you are following along and you're enjoying it, please let me know. It really makes my day, because that's what I love to do. I love to teach, and I love to make others love this art form. So with all that said, also, if you need the pattern, if you just stumbled on us, you may want to go back to pattern or lesson number 1 first. You may want to go back to lesson 1 first and start where you should start. But this you can get off of my website. It's donnasewingcircle.com. It is free. You can download it and print it. I highly recommend that you go to the library. They're very professional. They know how to print it, because you need it landscape and you need it to be able to print on both sides. So it only cost me 50 cents. I don't know what it costs at your library to get a color photo on both sides, but it's well worth the money. Okay, so we are on lesson 4. And we are on step 7 right here, where it says to square up your blocks. So I'm going to teach you how to square up your blocks. And the purpose of squaring up your blocks, we're making the pinwheel quilt. So these blocks that are not pinwheel, they're 10 inches. If your pinwheel block is not 10 inches, your quilt will have puckers in it, and it'll be a nightmare. That's what happened to my first quilt, because I didn't know about squaring. And that was one reason why my quilt came out so horrible, my first quilt. So I learned my lesson, and now I want to make sure y'all learn also so you don't do it. So this is my 10-inch block. All right, I'm going to put you down here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so if you have a mat like mine, this dark block right here is 10 inches. So we need this block to be 10 inches. If this block is 10 inches, then the number 12 is 5 inches. And this block right here, or this seam right here, needs to fall on the 5-inch mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 12 inches is the center. So I would line my block up. So the top of my block lines up with this line right here. This lines up with 12. The bottom, see, it's not lined up. It needs to be way over here on the 12 also. Okay? So once you get both sides lined up, we're going to cut off the excess. The excess is line 17. When you cut, you apply pressure on this. That will keep the fabric from shifting. Now, over here, if this was 17, 10 inches over here is line 7. Now, make sure it's still correctly positioned. This goes to line 7. Line it up. Make sure your fabric does not move. Line it up and cut. The reason we cut both sides, if you were to line this up on line 7, then let me show you. If you were to line this up at line 7 and even it up a little bit, see, it overhangs a little bit. So if you was to line it up and cut it off at 7, then come over here and cut this off like that. If you think, oh, I'm just going to save time and do it that way, no. You'll have a square block over here and you'll have a rectangle over here. And then if you flip it and continue that, then you're really going to have a mess. So do not think you can cut corners with this. All right, so that's 10 inches now. Now we turn it this way. Line these up on the 12-inch mark. And anything that exceeds the 17 and the 7 needs to be cut off. All right. See how beautiful that makes your block? Isn't that beautiful? This is what it was before. This is what it is now. What a difference it makes. And now it's the same size as this block. So now they'll fit together. See this one? If you didn't cut it, see how big and off it would be? It wouldn't fit. And if you tried to make it fit, you'd have all these puckers. That's why you have to square it. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so now we got to do all of our blocks that way. And you can only do one block at a time because every block is different. Line it up. Here's your 10-inch mark. So you line it up on the 12 with the top of your block on the top of that. Make sure this one is on the 12. Cut on the 17. And the 7. I purposely make my patterns larger than they need to be because I've learned that beginner sewers cannot sew a straight line. And this gives you a little bit of leeway for error. That's why I said don't freak out if one block is bigger than another, because this fixes it. Make sense now? And this will take care of all your crooked lines if you have any. You'll start over with a clean slate and everything will be pristine and beautiful. Okay. You should have all your blocks done. Let's separate them in piles. You have this color. This color. And then we have this color. All right. Here's my pattern. This row, this color needs to be this one. I changed my pattern. I want this row, this one, and this one to be the same color. Okay? So the first row needs to be this one, and then we need a plain one, which is this. So we pin them together. Make sure the seams are together. I like to pin away from the edge so I do not have to remove my pins as I'm sewing. When I'm sewing rows together, I'm sewing one block at a time, okay? So that's what this one will be. And then the next block will be the green. All right, let me sew this and I'll be right back. I usually use 3 pins, one for the middle and one for each end so it doesn't slide. Fabric has a tendency to slide. Okay, the next color is this. Now we got one more like this for the end. Okay, that is the first row. So the second row, let's lay this one aside. Second row begins with this. Next one is a green one. Okay. Now we put on one of these blocks. So far, so good. All right. Row 2. Now we're on row 3. Starts with the green one. This is the last block for row 3. Row 3. Row 4 starts with the peach. And then it has a blue. Okay. So the next one needs to be green. Okay, that's row 4. Now we're on the last row. Starts with the blue. Next one is the green. Should be your last green one. Okay, you got one more block. It's this one. Okay, this was the 5th row. So you got 5 rows. That will be all today. All right, ladies, this is all for today. We should have 5 rows. Tomorrow, we will be putting all 5 rows together, and you will have a quilt top. And then I'll teach you how to quilt in the ditch and how to put the backing on and to do your binding. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so you don't lose me in the World Wide Web. And I'll see you tomorrow. And also, if you didn't know, I do have 3 books. I've got a beginner's sewing book, beginner's quilting book, and a beginner's upcycling book. They're all available on my website, DONNA'S. You can find the link in the description and in the comment. So if you want to check them out, go ahead. And if you see any tools today that you don't have, they're in my Amazon store. You can also find that on my website. So, and I do make a small commission off of it, as you probably know, enough to buy me a cup of coffee. All right, ladies, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a blessed day.